All right, welcome to the Golf Podcast Live. I'm your host, Raphael Calamat. Not in studio, we're over at Ace Co-working, so a big thanks to them for hosting us today. With me is my co-host, Michael Bleakley, who is also not at his studio at ECS Agency Studios in Vancouver, but traveling through California and Oregon now. It's been a crazy week of golf. We got Abraham Answer, winning on the Asian Tour. What a crazy field that was. You got Pearson Coody, unbelievable, on the Corn Ferry Tour for his second win. And I'm thinking there's big things ahead for this young man. Daniel Gavins on the DP World Tour gets his second win as well. That's really good for that Englishman. And Justin Rose, speaking of Englishmen, wins at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. With us today, we have a very special guest. He is an American professional golfer and long drive professional. He's the 2018 Volvik World Champion, along with the 2015 Senior Masters Champion. In 2022, he also qualified for final stage of the Champions Tour on the PGA, as well as the current 2022 World Long Drive Champion, Eddie Fernandes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me. And that's senior world champion. So
that's right.
I can still hit it with the young kids though. So I'm looking forward to competing with them again this year. So it'll be fun.
That's impressive. It made me think of the announcer when Phil cut off years ago, where it's like, yeah, that's enough. They're talking about Tigers accreditations there. So you got a long list of victories and some nice belts in the background there, Eddie.
I think when you're as old as I am and you're halfway decent at something, you kind of get a somewhat of a long list of some cool things that you've done. So, but yeah, it's super humbling. I get so many direct messages and emails and texts and just people saying how inspirational it is. And then the cool thing is I think being 52, I've really mastered the speed element, the training aspect with my trainer, Jeff Flagg. And then I added Rotex Motion back last June with Dr. Joe Lacaze. And it has just been, it's incredible. Like, just today, I got a text from my swing coach, Scott Schaefer in Dallas. He's the director of player development at Glen Eagles in Dallas. And he went from 109 to 118 and a half. And he's never been over like 158 ball speed. He hit 172 today, just in like 5-6 weeks using Rotex only, just by the mobility, stability, rotational aspect of it. And it's an absolutely incredible tool. I'm so glad that I tried it last year, and it's almost like it's too good to be true, but it's not. And once I kind of did it for 12 weeks before the World Championships, my body felt absolutely incredible.
There's a trickle-down effect that's happened because of professional long driving into the PGA Tour and all the tours. We talked to Lisa Longball, who's on the show, as well as Jason Zubak, in the evolution of the game and how it's now trickling down into people like, obviously, Bryson, the most well-known long hitter of the ball on the tour, now on the LIV Tour. Even for someone who's a mutual friend of yours, Rob Labritz has been on the show and he's talked about things. He sends out his regards and had only good things to say about you because he heard you were going to be on the show. So
Rob and I go way back. We grew up like 4 houses down from each other as kids, and we went at it all the time. We practiced, we were teammates, and we just wanted to beat each other. And I think that was a real pivotal time in our lives, right? We won a state championship in high school. We went to college. He only went to college for 1 year, but we were ranked in the top 20 in the country in Division I in a Northeast school. So we had a really, really good team. And then he knew what he wanted to do, and he didn't need college for it. And golf was kind of, his pathway to his future. And I'm so freaking proud of him that he's done what he's done and he's doing what he's doing. And it's just so cool how our paths went this way and then kind of that way. So we're kind of meeting again at 50, 51, 52 years old. And so really proud of him, what he's done. And Glen Arbor, loves him. I've been up there before playing, and he's just, he is nothing but great things to say about Rob, his game, the person he is, the father he is, the husband. Just he's just a great guy, and I'm really in his corner. Really proud of him.
Yeah, he truly is living the dream, right?
He
Especially
is.
to hit 50, win Q School, full status, and go play every event. And Glen Arbor is just, rolling out the carpet for him, which is unbelievable. Like, any business would usually want to cut the expense, but they're sponsoring him, and so it's been fun to get to know Rob and watch his progress. So hope when he squeaks out a win.
And that's nice to hear, right? It's nice to hear that Glen Arbor, it's such a prestigious club, beautiful, just an awesome place, that they're taking care of him. And he's worked his butt off, and he's great for the club. He's great for the game, and he's just out there having fun. He's living the dream, literally living the dream, which is great.
And where the bodies are buried. If you go that far back with him, you got some stories. It's so cool, as we've gotten older, just reconnecting through Facebook and the PGA show back in 2013 or 14. When you have kids and you get married and you got all kinds of stuff going on. And I was out of golf for 9 years after 2004. That was probably the last time I saw him at Q School in 2004. And then I got into long drive at the end of 2013, went to the show in 2014. We reconnected there, and then we've just become close friends again. And just super proud of him.
You're popping up on our feeds all the time, and I'm just surprised with all the names that you've been dropping even before we got on this cast. You're talking about spending time with Phil Mickelson, with Hideki Matsuyama. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with some of these golfers and what that relationship is about.
Yeah, so I was fortunate to be a member at Golden Bear Club the last couple of years. And here in Windermere, Florida, and Hideki's a member there as well. He lives there, and I was just out there practicing. Lucky enough to hit my own ball, so I kind of go on, kind of over there by myself. So I'm not going to hit into anyone on the other side of the range. And Hideki walks over, and I saw him come up with a couple of carts, some of his guys, and I hadn't met him before. This was probably 6 months after he won the Masters, so it was like late summer of 21. And he and I look up, and I'm hitting drivers, and it makes a little bit of a different sound when I hit it. And he comes over and he looks at my TrackMan numbers, and his eyes went like that big, and he's like, whoa, and he takes out his phone. He's like, would you mind if I take a video? And I'm like sitting there pinching myself. I'm like, really? Oh, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I introduced myself to him first, and so we chatted a little bit. He speaks okay English, and but it was just so cool. It was such a cool moment for me. It was like a pinch me moment. Like, current Masters champion, one of the best players in the world, wants to take a video of my swing, down the line and face on, and I absolutely flushed too. And not that I wasn't nervous, but I was just kind of, and I was swinging it well. And he took a couple of videos, and we were chatting a little bit. I went over after I was done practicing and watched him hit balls, and we just kind of struck up a friendship. And he was very intrigued how, he didn't know I was 50 years old at the time.
Right.
He didn't know I was 50. And, we talked about injuries. I'm like, no, outside of a couple bumps and bruises, a little tendonitis here and there. But other than that, no, never a broken bone, a tendon, a ligament, never out for more than a couple of weeks. And he was taken back by that because, Hideki's had some neck stuff going on, some wrists, some other things. And he really hasn't felt that great in a while. So we just kind of, back and forth, we'd practice, and I'd see him out there, we'd chat. And then he finally came out and be like, he wants to know what I'm doing from a training perspective. I mean, I train a little bit differently. I train like a rotational athlete. This is what I do. And, my body is number one. I have to treat it like a temple, so to speak. And this is how I make a living, right? This is how I put food on the table. I have to be healthy. And thankfully, my trainer, Jeff Flagg, absolutely incredible what we work on. And he's, Jeff is a world champion as well, 2014. And he's super smart. And we we perform everything in the gym that's going to help me on the grid or the golf course. So everything I do in the gym has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we kind of tag teamed Hideki, and I told him, hey, Hideki, why don't we have Jeff come up and spend a little bit of time and show you what we can do and what I do. And why wouldn't they, right? Why wouldn't the best players in the world say, hey, this 52-year-old guy is swinging at 150 miles an hour efficiently with no injuries. Like, I need to know, I need to like find out what he's doing. Like, what is he doing that I'm not?
Mike,
right, exactly.
Mike and I need to know what's going on as well. Yeah. Mike's a top amateur in BC. We've been playing for over 30 plus years. If we really go far back, we've been playing since I've been playing since I was 9-10 years old. I was assistant professional for many years at clubs, be it resort clubs, public or private, semi-private. Still teach, still instructs, and we're both 48 awesome. Years old. And when I see what you're doing, you're an inspiration, Freddie. I mean, really,
thank you.
And I think you are to a lot of other players who are much younger than you.
For sure.
Because if you're fitter, more flexible, got more power and strength,
right,
and you're limber, that's incredible.
Yeah, a big thing too, guys, is I can swing it over 140 lefty. So the balance of my body between my dominant and non-dominant side, and I've trained that. I mean, it wasn't easy to start. I mean, it was, I would hit baseballs left-handed just to kind of balance out the rotation and the speed, the power, the mobility of both my dominant and non-dominant side. So I would get out there and I would crush it. I would want to, I wanted to be the best. And once I got to the point to where, my wife was a huge inspiration for that. She supported it. And, with 3 small kids at the time in 2013, I was working in a restaurant as a I was an assistant GM, and then I got into serving and bartending because it was just way too much. 90 hours a week as a manager, it was just too much.
Yeah.
And I knew at some point I wanted to get back into golf. So when I saw Long Drive on TV, I watched Tim Burke win in 2013. I'm like, man, this is cool. Had no idea what my speed was. All I knew was I made second stage.
Can we put that in perspective, though?
Sure. Yeah.
How old were you when you got back into it?
40. I was almost 43. So at the end of 2013, it was after the World Championships in 2013. So I was just turning 43 in November.
Amazing.
So literally November 1st, I kind of got into it. So 2014 was my first year.
Very cool.
Yeah. And I was didn't even know what TrackMan was, guys. Had no idea. No idea how fast I was. All I knew was that I hit it a lot farther than everyone I always played with when I went to Q school and tournaments and mini tour events and stuff like that. So I said, well, maybe this is something I can do. So it worked out.
And what about this Rotex? Can you elaborate on what exactly it is and how it can benefit us and then how us aging shorter hitters could find it?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. RotexMotion.com. Dr. Joe Lacaze, I met him through my trainer, Jeff Flagg, one of my very, very good friends. And he said, look, I want you to incorporate this into your everyday routine. It's amazing. This is what it does. And it almost sounds too good to be true. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. So I finally committed to it last June. And there's a floor model. There's 2 discs with, it has some, and they go this way. They kind of go internal, external rotation. You put your feet on it. You can put your hands on it. It has an app, Rotex Motion. And it is absolutely incredible. Some of the things that I do on there, I do probably 3 or 4 exercises to activate. And it fires up everything from my ankles all the way to my neck. My intercostals, which is the rib cage, obliques, lats, shoulders, hips, adductors, everything. It gets everything going. I could literally wake up in the morning, do 6 minutes of Rotex, and the first swing out of the box, I can grab a driver and probably hit 140 in the first swing and not even blink an eye. Seriously. I mean, it's ridiculous how good it is. And my coach, 5-6 weeks, he's gained 9 miles an hour.
Wow.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And that's really all he's done, because his mobility, as you age, your mobility, it's not there. You need something that you can do every day that's not going to take an hour, you know, that you can do 5-6 minutes in the morning activation, 5-6 minutes after you're done practicing or playing or training or whatever, and be done with it. 12 minutes a day. If you don't have 12 minutes a day to do that, then I can't help you. But it has been the cherry on top, the glue that kind of meshes everything together with my training. And it's amazing. People are baffled what I'm doing, and that's just part of it.
Wow.
You know, that's part of that. That's like,
you recently spent a little bit of time with Phil Mickelson working on a clinic or working with him. Tell us a little bit about that. You know, people are really intrigued with, obviously, people who've been known in the game. And so just even spending a little bit of time with someone like Phil Mickelson is nice.
Yeah, it was super cool. You know, I met Phil a long time ago in college at a tournament. And, you know, we have a mutual friend, Harry Rudolph. Harry is from La Jolla, California, really good player, All-American at Arizona, won a national championship with Furyk. So him and Phil grew up playing golf together. So I've become good friends with Harry. And Phil was in town. They've been good friends. And I told him I was going to be out there. I was doing a corporate event in Palm Springs. I said, hey, I'm going to be out there, you know, love to get together. And if Phil's around, would love to, you know, spend some time with him. And it kind of worked out to where, you know, went out and at Del Mar Country Club and spent a few hours. He wasn't feeling that great, but I didn't work with him. He always just asking me questions and watching me hit balls and asking me to hit different shots and what I'm feeling. And it was really cool, you know, to have, you know, one of the greatest players of all time and, you know, arguably the best short game ever, you know, pick my brain and, you know, just dumbfounded at 200 ball speed, how easy I make it look. So, but yeah, it's cool. I can definitely help him. You know, I'm sure we'll get together again, but yeah, that was really neat. It was really cool to kind of spend time with him. And he looks great, by the way. He's trimmed down.
He lost about 20 pounds. I saw pictures of him recently.
Yeah. And he's like 190, 195, maybe. I mean, he looks really good. He looks lean. And I think he'll play well this year. He's still at, you know, 175 ball speed, which is, you know, anyone over, you know, 50 years old that can put up over 170. That's impressive. Yeah.
Well, he's bragging about being at his college weight, you know, and we've all followed Phil through his entire career, and he's sort of had a dad bod most of his career, but, you know, as he's gotten older, he's gotten way fitter, probably the largest calves on tour that I know of at the moment. I know there's some taller players, maybe Kokrak's got some big ones under there, but, you know, he's, I don't know. I kind of like this Bizarro Phil that came out with the beard and like there's sort of the dark side. It's been entertaining. Right. And, you know, I was out at Pumpkin Ridge for the live event and just watching him moving around and all that. It's you know, I like this evolution of Phil Mickelson, but this year will be good to see, right? Let's see what this newfound drive and fitness, and he's lighter and leaner, and hopefully he can post some numbers and stir up the controversy a little more.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's where Rotex comes in, right? And it's for mobility. It is absolutely incredible. I've gained probably 10% more mobility. Well, and it's incredible. It's really,
I've got to go because I'm going to go sign up for Rotex right now. I had open surgery last year, hernia operation. They gutted me like a C-section, and I still don't have all the power back. So, I'm going to. I'm looking for something to you know dive myself into to start getting some yards because it's killing me. Yeah. Well, I'll share Dr. Joe's contact information with you. You can talk to him, and he's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. You know, he's really helped me a lot, and just I am absolutely a believer, man. The way I felt at the World Championships last year, it was like, wow, it's like it's over. Yeah, I was that confident where I knew that I was in the best place emotionally, mentally, physically. I was totally in control of my golf swing, the golf ball, and it was pretty special last year. Amazing.
You know, the first time I really paid attention to Eddie Fernandes was when you got your swing analyzed by Tiger Woods at Golf Digest.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Was that last year or the year before? It was
2020. It's a funny story because I'm practicing at Bella Collina and I'm having lunch with some buddies, and my phone is just blowing up. I'm like, what in the world is going on? So I'm getting text messages after, hey, Tiger Woods just analyzed your swing. I'm like, get the heck out. What are you talking about? No, seriously, they sent me the link and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like that was another, aha moment where he was, that was pretty cool. Wow. I played in his pro-am last year as a guest of some friends of mine, John Olson. There was a guy that dropped out. I think he had COVID. So he asked me last second, I'm like, yeah, let me grab a flight.
I'll be there.
Yeah, we won the pro-am. And it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Harris English was our pro, so I don't know if it was really fair to have me and Harris on the same team, but it was. Harris is great. I've known Harris for a couple of years, but super cool dude.
Well, that's really fascinating. all these little stories, you don't know how much people appreciate the stories until when we get all the comments in, Eddie, we're blown away by what people love to hear. And they love to hear, on the most part, funny and embarrassing golf stories. And everyone from John Cook to Ian Leggett to all the players that we've had on always share something that we didn't expect. So I don't know, when I say funny or embarrassing, does anything come to mind in a tournament or a notable player you were with?
Oh, man. Funny or embarrassing? Let me think about that. I've got to have one or two.
We can circle back.
Yeah, we'll circle back on that one.
I'd love to jump in on the nickname because Raf and I, first of all, are DJs, and that's how we met back in the 90s. And there is a well-known producer and DJ called Fast Eddie out of Chicago, International Records. So if you're familiar with him, for one, and then to tell us about how Fast Eddie came about in your life and as a nickname.
Yeah, so I grew up. I'm 52. I was born in 1970. And I played Little League in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. So Paul Newman's character in The Hustler was Fast Eddie Fernandes, the pool player.
Yeah.
So I threw pretty hard in Little League. I was a skinny, wiry, kind of tall. I weighed about 90 pounds, but I could sling it. And I always had that fast twitch, strong, kind of athletic body. But I was super skinny. But I threw it in the mid 70s as a 12-year-old. So some of my coaches, some of the parents just call me Fast Eddie, and that's kind of stuck. And then it kind of came back in long drive when I started doing long drive in 2014. So just it was just kind of one of those things where I got as a kid and kind of went away after I got out of golf. But yeah, it's back. It's pretty good. People kind of like it. So
yeah,
well,
it's not bad. Usually, we get branded a nickname and we hate it, so it ends up sticking. So you got lucky. You got lucky for sure.
Well, it's funny when I do a corporate event or a charity event, people are like, "How'd you get the nickname Fast Eddie? Your wife?" I'm like, "Yeah, unfortunately, yeah." And they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah. So. That was my thought, but I wasn't going to say it on the pod. So.
Well, we really want our listeners and our viewers to get to know you because they may not know too much about long drive competitions. It's really been in the spotlight the last couple of years. And so the sport's grown considerably. So we want our viewers and listeners to get to know you. We're on 17 platforms now, so we're thrilled to share this with everyone. Tell us a little bit about yourself. If I could ask you a couple of favorites, favorite food, favorite music, favorite golf course?
Food, I'm definitely a steak guy. Harry Rudolph, went to Q school in, for 2022 at the end of 2021. We were at the, out in California, and I had steak and eggs every day. So steak and eggs is like my staple for breakfast. If ever I'm going somewhere, I'm playing in a tournament, I always have to have steak and eggs before I either, I play in a tournament or something. So, but it's definitely steak. I love red meat, grass-fed, hopefully. But yeah, I love everything really. I love seafood, crab, lobster, sweet potatoes.
You like eating. You like.
Yeah, I like eating. I can't eat as much as I used to, but as you get older, it gets a little bit tougher to stay in shape. So you have to work a little bit harder. But I have a pretty good routine, and I'm very passionate about it. Hey, and sometimes I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to work out, but I do it. You know why? Because that was on my schedule, and I said I don't care how I feel, unless I can't walk. I'm going to work out regardless. So, and I think that's what separates the good players from the great players. And I just think if you can get up and you can do it, get through it. And I hear guys talk about that all the time. About nobody ever jumps out of bed every single day. Oh, I can't wait to work out. Some days it's like that. Some days you can't wait to get after, but other days it's like, oh man, I slept terrible. I don't feel that great. It's just, and then you want to make excuses, be like, I could just take the day off. And then you're like, okay, snap back into it. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it over. I'm going to do what I have to do. And then afterwards, you're like, man, I'm so glad I did that. Because I feel so
half the battle is getting there, right? Half the battle is getting to the gym. Right?
Yeah, even more. Right. Sometimes it's like that. The greats do it, even when they don't want to.
Yeah.
And you have to push yourself. You have to push it to the limit. So and I think that's why I've had some success over the last few years.
Right. I remember the martial arts days that you crawled to class and you're tired, didn't want to do it. But I find that once you tough it out and get there, you have your best exercise period, and you feel wonderful after. So.
Absolutely. I think it's just that mental thing where be like, you could take the day off. You're good. You're one of the best. It doesn't matter. There's other guys going through it. You've got to outwork everyone. Like there's younger guys coming into the 45 and older division, the senior division this year. So, they're good, really good hitters. So I've got to step up my game. I don't care that I won last year. I've got 2 world championships. I've got to step up my game. I'm also going to compete against the young kids a month later in October. So, I want to win. At my speeds right now, I put up 152, 222 and a half yesterday, ball speed. Wow. And there is no reason why I can't go and win. And I mean, I hit it in the center of the face more than anyone. And, I know how to do it. I'm comfortable in that spotlight, and, I like my chances. So it's a fun journey, but it's all about the journey and the preparation and the process. And that's what I focus on. And then once I get out there, it's just time to let it go.
Right on. And Eddie, what's on the playlists? Do you listen to certain type of music to motivate yourself, or in the car, or at the gym, or are you more of a?
I'm a big Rocky guy.
Okay.
So, it came out when I was a kid. Like my brother Steve, God rest his soul, he passed away in 2015, but he was a national champion wrestler. And in high school, he would come out. The high school wrestling team would run out to Rocky. And that's kind of like when I was, 6 or 7 years old, and I kind of just fell in love with it. I love the Rocky theme songs and a lot of the songs they have in the movies. But I'm pretty eclectic. I don't listen to a lot of country, but there is some country it's actually really good music, some of it. So, but I'm more of a kind of, hard rock, kind of maybe a little R&B. I like a lot of different genres. So it's so I have some songs that fire me up that I really like, and but yeah, it just depends on what mood I'm in,
Yeah. So right before a long drive comp, you got the Rocky theme song of him running up the stairs. You got that in the headphones, and you go out onto the grid and let it rip. Is that kind of the game plan, or?
Yeah, for sure. When he's in the hospital in Rocky 2 with Adrian telling him to win, I get goosebumps even when I just think about it, right?
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, that just brings me back to my brother, watching my brother in high school. And it just, cool. I just get all saying, I'm like,
what are we waiting for?
What are we waiting for?
All those Bill Conti songs. My son's 16 years old. I introduced him to all these tracks, and he's got it on his playlist now. So there's all those different workouts, videos on YouTube you can watch, and it's always great. It's always great to hear I'm not the only one doing that. I'm gonna out myself.
And the cool thing is you can match when you see the movie and see where the music is in the movie, and then you kind of put the music to that scene. It's like whenever I think about that, I'm like, whoa, that's pretty heavy. It's cool.
Yeah.
And
So
tell
you
us
had,
about your relationship with Clear Golf. I saw it on your website, and you're wearing the hat.
Yeah.
A big player in your team.
Yeah, they Gary Singer, the CEO of Clear, they just partnered. Discovery Land Company just purchased, I think, 50 or 51% of Clear, which is a great partner, especially for me. I do some events for them, member guests, and do some private events, and it's super, super cool. They've been taking care of me for over 2 years now, and they're nothing but they're just amazing. It's an amazing sponsor. But the ball is incredible. Yeah, that tour, I play the Tour Black. They have the Tour Black and the Tour Green. The green is a little bit soft for me for my speed. The black, it feels like I'm really hitting it. It's a little clickier, but it spins plenty around the greens, and it is untouchable in the wind. I've tested every ball in the wind. I mean, I can flight this. It goes right through the wind. It's absolutely, like Charles Schwartzel says, it is flawless. It is a very, very good ball. Yeah.
amazing. So speaking of that, can you share some of your ball speeds and club head speeds with us?
Yeah.
You go through the bag, maybe a mid iron, like a 7, and then just a driver, just to give me an idea.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't hit my iron super far, nor do I want to. You know, my stock 7 iron is 192. My stock 6 iron is 205. I would.
You carry.
That's carry. Yep, that's carry. That's just the stock smooth 6 and 7 iron. I try not to hit it too hard. I want to be able to control it because I come from a playing mentality. I'd much rather hit a soft 6 iron or a soft 7 iron than a hard one. So, and I can play cuts and draws and high low, but you know, when it comes to it, sometimes I'm a club longer than these kids I play with in mini tour events. Sometimes we hit the same club, but when it gets to the driver, it's showtime. It's, I'm 50 past these kids, and they're like baffled, just because my stock driver is 132, 195, 196 ball speed. I'm carrying it 340-ish. And, I'll go all the way up to 205, 206 ball speed. If I have the green light on the golf course, if I have a hole that I can let it loose, I will, I'll let it go. I'll swing it 137, 138 and get it up to 205, 206 ball speed if I hit it solid.
Mike, we might as well take up, you want to take up croquet?
Yeah, it's like I'll be driver, like, 8 iron to match your drive, myself.
Yeah. The cool.
Your stock 7 sounds ridiculous too. I mean, if you're like hitting around, between 190 and just under 200, that's still a long ways for a carry, for most guys. They're not able to generate that kind of speed. It really depends on your height and the length of levers as well, and your rotation and power through the ball. But how tall are you? How much do you weigh?
6'4", 215.
Oh yeah, you're just like perfect build for power. Yeah, 100%. What's your farthest?
There's nobody that tall on tour. There's maybe 2 guys.
Yeah, there's a few. There's a couple of guys.
Tour, he's 6'5".
Yeah, he's tall. He just played pretty well, didn't he?
Yeah, he finished 4th at the
right. And I was just watching him over the weekend. Yeah.
So what's some of your longest balls on the course, Eddie? Like, what's some of your longest drives on course?
Oh man, well I've hit it
bones.
over 4. Like when I've done some charity events in Colorado. Downwind, 100 degrees, at elevation, 7,000 feet. Yeah, I've hit some 500 yards.
Yeah.
In competition, in World Long Drive competition, my longest is 480.
Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty
wild.
That
was in Phoenix, in 2018. And
so 480?
480, yeah, 480 yards. Yeah, flew like 436 in the air, and it was pretty cool.
That's 2 of my drives.
That's a funny story. When it was 2018, I was qualifying out for the finals of the Open Division later in 2018, and it was the last set. I had to finish either first or second to make it to the finals to make it in to the World Championships. And so, like the second ball out of the chute, I absolutely roast this driver, and I'm just like, Well, if I don't finish first or second with that one, and then it came up 480, it was downwind like 15, 17 miles an hour, and it was 105 degrees, and it was just, I was feeling good, and it was probably 220 plus ball speed. And the guy that was hitting it, because four of us are on the tee at the same time, and he turns around and he goes, "Are you effing kidding me?"
Oh yeah.
So, and I just started laughing. I'm like, yeah, I mean, sorry, dude. But,
Well, there's guys that aren't that big, right? Eddie, if we're looking at someone like Cameron Champ, or even a Camilo Villegas, who's basically 5'8", maybe with the shoes on, right?
Yeah.
But they're powering it out there. If you look at a Rory McIlroy, who's 5'8",
Xander Schauffele, all these guys
he's 5'9", but I think he's shorter than that. I've stood beside him a few times. They're pounding it out there, and it has to do a little bit with genetics, but it's really working at it, right? Working on that rotational movement,
absolutely,
using the ground force with your feet, being able to, maximize in all the positions coming through impact, right? It's very much like the crack of the bat, or throwing a ball, or in tennis, it's that impact position and the transfer of weight. There's so much that goes into that, but the timing needs to be everything. Now, talk about the physical, the mental, but the technical part of the game is really important too. Matching up the right clubs, even for the amateur, how important is it to get fitted?
Very, very important. I went out to, I was hitting a Ventus shaft last year. My coach is like, "Eddie, could I be making some good swings?" And the ball would kind of float on me a little bit. And I'm like, man, it's weird. It didn't feel like the ball should have done that. So he said, "Why don't you come out to Dallas?" John Sinclair, he's out of Dallas. He's the TPT rep. He helped design the TPT shaft, who's another one of my sponsors. Absolutely incredible. I went out there, spent 3 hours with him, got dialed in. I didn't care about flex. I didn't care about anything. I just went straight on performance. And he got me in the right setup. And then I said, let's try some of these shafts for long drive. It's an incredible shaft. There's no spine, so I can, even an adjustable head, I can mess around with the loft and the lie and stuff. And come to find out, it was pretty cool. I mean, when I started hitting it, I was like 3-4 miles an hour faster, and it was a little bit lighter, and it was super stable. And I'm like, whoa, what do we have here? And I got one of my buddies, Martin Borgmeyer, who won the Open Division World Championship this year. He hit it for the first time at the World Championships. So I think he owes me a little percentage, but I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I got Martin into it. Justin James, another good friend of mine, got him to hit it, and a few other guys. And I think there were 5 of us, and 4 of the guys were in the Open Division, 1st, 3rd, and 2 ninths. So 4 top 10s, and I won, and 2 champions hitting TPT. First year they've ever been in long drive. And that's something to say about how good this shaft is, and how stable it is, and consistent, and just the dispersion when I hit it. Even like playing golf, it's, mishits are straighter and they're better. And it's just, it's awesome. It is an awesome shaft. But yes, to answer your question about getting fit, very, very important. I went through, probably 15, 20 different shafts and lengths, and just trying to dial it all in to get the right combination to maximize distance. And
you hear it so often with, high handicappers, like, "I'm not good enough to get fit." No, I don't want to do it. But I say it's so important. You're going to spend a lot of money, a lot of time over the years of this game, going and do it right, and get fit properly. It's so well worth it.
If it's something that you're going to play or commit to, and golf is such a great game, right? I mean, I've been doing it my whole life. And, if you have the time and the attention where you can get out a couple days a week, even to the range and practice, and it's just something that you can get out. It's exercise. It's, you're swinging a golf club, and it's just a fun game. And, I would like to see more people working, around the greens, chipping and putting and pitching, rather than, hitting 2 buckets of balls, because most shots I see when I play with amateurs, and a lot of them hit it pretty well, not bad, but around the greens, they're taking, 4 to get down from 10 feet off the green. It's just like, man, you can save a shot or two, on a lot of holes. So, but yes, to get fit for the proper shaft length lie. I have a guy here, Mark Franco. He's absolutely phenomenal. He grinds my wedges. He's been working with tour players for a long time, probably 30 years. And I met him through one of my neighbors, Brian Davis, and just absolutely incredible. Just, he knows exactly what he's doing. We'll go out on the range. He'll bring his loft and line machine out, and he'll look at the divot, right? When I'm hitting, let's just say an 8-iron, and he'll see maybe just a hair toe deep. So he'll move it 1/4 of a degree, and then, he'll get it to where it's perfect. And every club is like that. He's very, very meticulous. And my clubs are just so dialed in that, I'd never, ever have to worry about my equipment. Yeah. So it's nice.
It's nice to take that off your mind. You know that
for sure.
It's not the arrows.
No doubt.
And people need to realize, need to learn to like practicing the short game.
Yeah.
Right. It's like go out there, and that I find that, and Raf could agree, because that's one of we ruined a rental house, hitting lob shots through it years ago, putting holes in the walls. But you get the creative side of golf, from the short game and the recovery side, and you're better served to put time in there and then go hit one bucket in the range. And
absolutely. No, Mike, it's funny you bring that up, that you and I in that house, that was 25 plus years ago, we used to be old roommates, and we used to go play pitch and putt all the time just to sharpen up our short game. We loved just going with our wedges and our putter to the park. And play.
We'd so hit flops from the foyer up the stairs, and try to stop it on the carpet, and little dimple marks all over the house. And
You're hilarious, Mike.
Yeah, but, short game.
Eddie, your plans for 2023. Are you still trying to get out on the Champions Tour? Any pre-qualifier or qualifiers you'll be getting into, or is it all a long drive?
Yeah, I'm going to see if. So I'm kind of on the docket for me is just speed. I'm putting together a subscription site, which is going to be everything from A to Z, soup to nuts, what I do. I've had so many people reach out, we want to know what you're doing. Can you give me a workout? Can you do this? Can you do that? Like, how does your swing? How do you make it look so easy? And I have a lot of things that I do that I've had a couple of meetings with some companies that are interested in doing a subscription site with me. And it's going to be really cool. Everything that I do from A to Z, and it's going to be really, really good. And so I'm busy putting that together. Hopefully it'll be up in 3 to 4 months. Building the website. It's a process, man.
It takes a lot.
It is incredible. The amount of just work that it takes. Not only, and I mean, it's easy for me because all I have to do is go out and talk about it and just kind of put everything in sequence of how I want it delivered. But it's a lot of work on that end. You got to build the website. You got to have the e-commerce. You got to do this. You have to do that. It's just, it's a lot of work. Yeah. And, but it's going to be well worth it. I'm going to have a product coming out as well that I've been using since 2017, 2018 that I use for speed training, which is really, really good.
I own a web service. Yeah, I've owned a web service company. I've been doing the last 12 years, and I'm glad to hear you saying, how difficult the process is. There's a lot of steps to it.
Yeah, and even I do a lot of corporate events and charity events, and I show up and there's 144 players, and it is not easy putting that together. And you've got volunteers, and you've got this person. It's just there's so much that goes into it. And then you have to pray that the weather's good. Yeah. Because if it gets rained out, it's like all that work is done for nothing over the course of a year. But yeah, people don't realize how difficult some of this stuff is, and not just the golf industry, but just any industry really, when you're putting stuff together and managing certain things. But yeah, it's amazing.
Well, we're going to encourage all our viewers and our listeners to go to fasteddie400.com to just follow up on what you're doing, to follow your social media feeds, and they could get in touch with you that way if they want you to come out to an event. Or if you'd like to go see Eddie, just follow him on his website, on his social media, get to know him and what he does, because it's pretty exciting. It's a lot more exciting watching the long drive competitions than it is going to an event. If you're not a golf head like Mike and I don't mind following anybody on any tour, but it's a little bit different for the average golfer. So for anybody wanting to get in touch with Eddie, make sure you go onto his website. Would you like to mention any sponsors or people that you work with, or say thank you to anybody you've worked with?
Yeah, I mean, Clear Golf, TPT shafts, Tornado T, really, really cool little gadget. T-Claw, Brad Carpenter with Bushwood bourbon, really, really cool. Talking to them probably about a possible sponsorship. Great people. Just was out there meeting with him in California a couple of weeks ago, but really, really neat. Paul Dooland, my mental coach, absolutely just a sweetheart of a guy. Just my whole team, really. You know, Jeff Flagg, my trainer, Dr. Joe Lacaza with Rotex, Scott Schaefer, my swing coach, Paul Doolan, my mental coach, and obviously my wife, because if I would not be doing what I'm doing if she didn't support it back in 2013 with 3 small kids. And you know, for a 43-year-old getting into long drive, competing against kids half his age, and you know, with not a lot of money in long drive, I mean, it was, you know, why I don't think I would have done it if I was her, but she is a true inspiration, and she's a rock star herself. So she just won a vacation for us through work.
Oh, perfect.
And we just got back from the Dominican Republic. So yeah, she's a very high achiever. She inspires me every day. So, but yeah, she's awesome.
Next time we're out in Florida, we're going to get around and do some content creation, talk about all the products and everybody you work with. Maybe do a little outing for 9 holes or 18. It'd be great to do it, because something we're planning for this summer on Ford. We're going to be doing a lot of content creation with players and people in the industry.
Raf and I better ball against you and see if we can take you down.
Oh man, I don't like my chances. I better start practicing. Also, guys, Torch Eyewear. Lewis Wellen, he was with Oakley. Yeah, he was with Oakley for years, and then he branched off a few years ago and started Torch Eyewear, all made in Italy. Absolutely incredible.
Cool.
Just really, really great guy. Takes really good care of me. He's right here in Winter Park, Florida. So Torch Eyewear, absolutely phenomenal for golf or baseball or fishing, whatever. But yeah,
very cool.
So yeah, man, it's great.
Amazing. Mike, you want to wrap things up a little bit?
Sure. Let's say thank you for everyone who's been watching and listening. The show will be we'll promote it on social media today, and tomorrow we'll release it on all of the podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, and a whole bunch of other ones. But it'll be up there. Yeah, there's so many, but the main ones, Apple and Spotify and Google, they'll all be there. I want to say thank you again to you, Eddie, for joining us and sharing a lot about what you've been up to and giving us some ideas. Rotexmotion.com. I'll be going there right after this and signing up.
Yeah, it's well worth it. I'm telling you, it's incredible.
Excellent.
So, I don't want to give all my secrets away to all my competitors. So it's like, man, I got to stop doing this, because then it's like I have the advantage and I give away these secrets and I'm like, what am I doing? I should retire and then give them all away.
Yeah, no, it's all right to share it, because no one will work as hard as you. So
you still got to put the work in.
Absolutely right.
You got to still put the work in.
Absolutely right. And you still have to hit it in the center of the face.
And you still got to have the talent, right? You got the talent.
Yeah, for sure. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
For Michael Bleakley, I'm Raphael Calmat with Fast Eddie Fernandes. Well, we'll see you next week. And until then, take care and keep it in the short grass, like Brian Hammonds used to say.
There you go.